Right, Jimmy News can reveal that more than 2,000 small boat migrants have crossed the Channel in less than a week. Sources say the migrant camps are like a war zone.
Well, as Dan is admitting late last night in a communique that the situation in the Channel is deteriorating, which is a significant shift in the language previously used by Number 10.
So we're staying with you, Mark, aren't we?
Oh, yes, I'll just turn my hand to anything.
Let's ask you about
Ascot fashion next.
Excellent.
How are you on that?
Oh, very good.
Great.
Yeah. Right, terrible numbers again. And does this shift in tone from Starmer suggest that we're going to see him tackling this crisis in a different way?
I'm not so sure, no, but I think it's a statement of the bleeding obvious. How long can he keep going on and saying we're tackling the gangs, we're smashing the gangs, when it demonstrably it's not happening? We're 40% ahead of where we were at this time last year. We want to show you some images, actually, that we've obtained just the last few days that show boats in the French authorities in the Channel attempting, it seems maybe, to start pushing back the migrants. So you're looking out there into the Channels, a migrant boat there, and there's a rib from the French authorities coming very close to it. Now, they do this on occasions as well to offer help and assistance if the boats are too full and people get into difficulties. But that one appears to be circling, which is part of the tactic to kind of produce waves to help push the boats back on shore.
What are we watching this on, Mark? Sorry to interrupt you, but is this on somebody's TikTok feed?
Yeah, exactly. So these are, look at that ninja warrior emoji at the top of the screen there. That tells you that this is a people smuggling gang that have pushed out this video. And the reason they're doing that is because they're saying, hey, look, the French are trying to push us back.
And failed.
But we still made it to the UK regardless.
Wow.
So they used that silly little rib to try and stop that much bigger dinghy?
Well, yes, so clearly, and it didn't work. We've got some images to show you how it's not working this morning with more small boats crossing the Channel. This video that we'll show you now was posted at 7:30 this morning. So far today, 250 migrants, according to our Kent producer Chris, have crossed. More boats are in the water. So we're well over 2,000 in less than a week. As I say, it's difficult for Sir Keir Starmer to argue anything other than the situation is deteriorating. And, you know, they're talking about smashing the gangs, but take a look at this next piece of video from Germany. This shows a lockup in Germany where small boats are taken. They're made in backstreet factories in China. They're shipped through the likes of Turkey into these lockups in Germany where they're inflated, checked out, any leaks are patched. They get the engines, they then deflate them, they pack them up, and then they smuggle them across to the coast of France. It's a huge operation. It's been years in the sort of in operation that they managed to get very sort of significant and well-sourced supply lines. So you take one lot out, there are others there who are just willing to step in and do the job for them.
I haven't been able to catch up with Patrick Christys about how the research is going. Do you know how Patrick's team are doing? Because they tracked down one of these smuggling gangs through social media and we're going to hand that information on. Do we have any news we can give our viewers on that, Mark?
There are ongoing investigations with the National Crime Agency with regard to that. That's all they're saying. These are protracted investigations. Listen, this is the way that you make contact with these gangs. You know, if you go to the bother of doing it, it's you know, perhaps not that difficult because that's the way they communicate over social media. They, you know, you post, when they post these videos that we've been showing you this morning, you respond to that. You say you're heading towards France, you want a boat, they get in contact with you, you communicate, and then eventually they get you on a boat. I just wanted to mention, because we haven't done that just before you wrap me up, very, very worrying situation now developing in the camps across northern France. It's always been pretty dodgy in those camps anyway, but in the last week we've seen extreme violence as we've got inter-gang warfare that's breaking out between mainly Kurdish gangs and Africans who are not paying the money to get on the boat. There were shootings on Saturday, multiple people shot. Shootings on Sunday, multiple people fatally shot. Hammer attacks, stabbings.
Awful.
Yesterday in a boat, 3 people with stab injuries.
We want to bring in, we've got in the studio with us former Conservative Home Office Minister Tom Perskell. Tom, good to see you.
Thank you.
I mean, we think it was bad when you lot were in power, but it's even worse now. What are your thoughts when you're hearing Mark's analysis of this diabolical situation?
It's terrible and it's completely intolerable, and the government have lost the public, because what we've got is a situation that is completely out of control. Crossing numbers are up by over 40%. The fact that you've had over 2,000 arrivals in the space of a week is a damning indictment on the government's policy. I would accept that we didn't get everything right in government, but I do believe that there was some
understatement, Tom.
Do you think,
That's a bit of an
Well,
understatement.
you know, we certainly didn't get everything right. And I do think that there are foundational pieces of work that we put in place that this government should be using.
Like what?
Not having a deterrent has proven to be a disaster.
It's about Rwanda.
And, you know, we should be getting on and delivering that.
You couldn't get that deterrent over the line either, could you?
Well, I would do whatever was necessary to change the law. So there is a legislative base to deliver that policy. I don't personally think that there could be anything worse than people losing their lives in the Channel. I don't think there could be anything worse than importing that violence that Mark touched on into our country. There is a moral imperative to do something. They may not like it, and optically I appreciate that for left-wing people they may find this very difficult, but nothing can be worse than the status quo. So they should use that legislative base and deliver that policy.
Let's talk about what Serco are now offering homeowners. So this is a private contractor who work for the Home Office, and reports that they're now offering landlords a 5-year guaranteed full rent deal. What do we know about it, Tom?
Bit of an admission there, isn't it, that the government doesn't think that they're going to get this issue under control within a 5-year window.
Maybe they don't want to.
Which would take us beyond way into our next
way beyond into the next parliament, and the rhetoric doesn't match the reality. So the numbers are going the wrong way, as we've touched on. I don't have an issue with trying to save money. Actually, the hotel model is terrible because it's very, very costly. But fundamentally, if you want to change the accommodation model, I don't see how you can achieve that in this very congested housing market that many communities already see, where a lot of young people can't get on the housing ladder, but also at a time when the numbers are going up. If you'd got a very diminished number of people arriving, and you'd got therefore a much lesser need for an accommodation footprint, I could see this being deliverable and achievable. But I just don't see how on this current trajectory the government is going to get into that place. There will probably always be a need for a small amount of accommodation, but at the moment all the metrics are going the wrong way. They just have to get a grip on this.
Yeah.
Don't you think all this is just going to trigger even more unrest?
I really do think they've lost the public. And what I worry about, and I say this as someone who was the legal migration minister, and yes, we cut the numbers, and I always said that there would be more to do. I am very worried that all types of immigration are now being lumped together. People who play by the rules, have skills that we want in our country, are seen often through the same prism as people who are coming and arriving.
All their houses.
And it's outrageous. It's completely wrong. And what it means is that the public just doesn't have confidence and trust in our institutions.
Yeah.
The public has lost trust in our borders. I think you're seeing that reflected in the polls. And there is never an excuse for the sorts of scenes like we've seen in Ballymena.
OK.
But we also shouldn't minimise the concern that people have got.
Tom Perskell, come back and see us again.
We need to go to
we need to give you the Serco statement, actually.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, we've provided housing and support for asylum seekers on behalf of the Home Office since 2012, say Serco. We are committed to ensuring those housed are safe whilst they await news on their immigration status. And our teams work closely with local community representatives to discuss any concerns they might have regarding asylum accommodation in the area.
No, they don't. They never consult anybody at all. People just get lumbered with these people in their communities.